What's up guys, Parker here. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to create a measure to display how long it's been since your report was last refreshed. So let's get started.
So I recently had a question on how I created this last refresh measure that will show how long it's been since the dataset was last refreshed. And it's actually pretty easy to set up, so let's go ahead and dive right into it. So the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to create a calculated column that basically captures the time that it is right now, and that time will only be updated every time that the dataset is refreshed. So this calculated column is created with the following syntax. It's just last refreshed equals UTC now, and there are two different functions we can use to get the time right now. You can use now or UTC now, but you should probably use UTC now because when you publish this up to Power BI service, the now function doesn't seem to work that well, and UTC now will always be consistent. So I would recommend just using that. So once you create this calculated column, you'll see that it will basically refresh and show the time that it is now at the time of refresh every time you click that refresh button. So once this refreshes, we will see this time change from 11:54 and 50 seconds to somewhere around 11:57 or 11:58. So give that just a second. Now it's loaded, and it's 11:57:24. So that's the time that it was last refreshed, but now we need to create a measure to basically calculate how many minutes it's been since this time. So I already have this measure created, but I will go ahead and create a new one. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this card right here, just to start from scratch. And once that's deleted, let's create a new measure. And we can call this, once this loads, time since refresh. And it's a pretty simple measure. We're going to use the dateDiff function. That is going to calculate a difference between two different dates, but you can actually take the difference between two different times as well. So we can use dateDiff, and we want to take the max of that last refresh date. So the calculated column we just created on our table called today. So we're taking the max, which doesn't really matter here because there's only one value, but you have to use max to get to a single value of that table. So imagine there were more than one date in that column, you need to take the max, but since we only have one, it's really just the same value. So we take the max of that last refresh column, and we're subtracting that from UTC now. So the time it is right now in UTC time. And our interval is in minutes. And that will give us basically a number. So it's subtracting the date from the refresh time from right now in minutes, and we'll be able to see a certain number of minutes has been since refresh. So if we go ahead and create a card, and it pops it right there in an inconvenient location, we can move this over to where it was, and time since refresh, we can drag that in the fields well, and we see 0 minutes since refresh. You might see 0 for different kinds of reasons, like either it actually is 0, or you might have some caching due to your desktop caching. But it actually should be, actually if we take a look at our new table, let's see what it says our time is. And in desktop, it's kind of a little bit weird. You can see that this has changed to 11:59, and that's not really supposed to be the case, because when you create a new measure or new column, for whatever reason, it kind of refreshes your data set. When you publish this up to service, it's not actually going to do that. It's only going to refresh or change this value when the report is actually refreshed. So now it was 11:59 and 5 seconds. Right now it's past that time. It's a minute past that. So as we change this filter, we should see this change to 1 minute since the last refresh, and we do see that as the case. Let's go ahead and add a little bit more to this to explain exactly what that number means. So we can say and, throw in some text here. I like to say minutes, and we can do a parentheses s just in case it's plural, or in case there are multiple. And we can say ago, and basically just end it off there. So once that goes through, give that just a second. And there we go. So we see 1 minute it should say a go. Great, there we go. And let's go ahead and take a look back at that today table. You can see that this time just updated, given that we just made an update to that measure. Let's go ahead and publish this up, and I will open it up in the browsers to show you that it will only actually update that time every time we refresh. So let's go ahead and publish this up, and I'll see you back in a second. So I published it up, and I opened up the report in app.powerbi.com, and we can see that it's working as expected. It says 4 minutes ago, time since last refresh. So that works pretty nicely. One other thing I want to note is that when I opened it up, basically it saves this 4 minutes ago in cache based on the current slicer selections. But as time passes and you click on other slicers and see different views, there might be a different time that shows here. So let's see if enough time has passed. As we click on views and get a different kind of filter, we'll see what, we'll see that 5 minutes ago shows. But if we go back to subscribers, we see that it's still going to show 4 minutes ago because that card state is basically saved in cache, which isn't exactly what we want. It's not ideal, but it's kind of how it works, and I haven't found a real workaround around that yet. You might be able to do something to disable your browser cache, but one way you can get around this is you can just refresh the page. Might need to click Control-Shift-R to refresh that cache, and once your Power BI report comes back up, you'll be able to see 5 minutes or more, depending on how long it's been. You'll see that it's now no longer 4, it now shows 5. So that's kind of just a little caveat there. But that's basically how you get your time since last refresh. I hope you liked the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.